Rahul, once you're done, I mean, depending on the next would be Arjun who would be presenting.
Okay.
And after that, it will be Vinod who will join in later.
Hmm.
Uh,
कॉन्टेक्स्ट नहीं हो पा रहा क्या? Context?
Anyway, I'm not sure whether this is being recorded.
The recording is on. I forgot to tell that. Just a bit of ground rules. The first is that recording is on during this meeting, and it will be published on YouTube once this is done. During the meeting, just a bit of ground rules: keep yourself muted, and video off, so that there is lesser distractions during the presentation. There will be a slot for Q&A after the talk, and you can always use the comment section whenever you want. Sorry, go ahead, Rahul.
Okay, thank you, Binay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, I am Rahul Singh Padwa and working on sickle cell anemia control mission project in Eastern Madhya Pradesh in 6 districts of MP. So today's topic will be the sickle cell screening diagnosis management program and the role of technology. So what is sickle cell disease? Many of you might know that what is sickle cell disease. It's a genetic blood disorder, but currently the situation is that almost 30 to I can say that 70% people are not known to this disease in this area in Eastern Madhya Pradesh and in Chhattisgarh. In sickle cell disease, the shape of RBC become sickle, like in Hindi we call it Hashia or Chandrakar. So the problem is that the sickled RBC lifespan of sickled RBC is only 15 to 30 days, while the lifespan of normal RBC is 120 days. And this causes all the mishap and problems in the sickle cell patients. Sickled RBCs are, you can see that this is the sickled RBC, and in veins, sickled RBCs become clumpy and block the blood flow, which causes pain in the sickle cell patients. So symptoms of sickle cell disease are severe pain, chronic pain, vaso-occlusive pain, and severe anemia, repeated jaundice, swelling in fingers of hands and foot. This happens very rarely, but it has been seen in the patients of Nagpur. Weakness, fatigue, dizziness, problem in breathing, slow physical growth, acute chest syndrome, spleen enlargement, weak immunity, multiple organ failures might happen in later stages of sickle cell disease, and multiple aversion in pregnant women. So this doesn't happen in every pregnant woman with sickle cell disease, but in many cases it has found that they are unable to complete the pregnancy period. So generally there are two types of sickle cell cases, which we call them carrier and second is patients. Carrier doesn't have any symptoms, and most of the positive cases of sickle cell gene are carriers. They doesn't need any treatment, but they can transfer gene from them to their next generation. And while the SS patients are the main of focus, who has all these symptoms. So there is no cure in the world for sickle cell disease actually. So patients suffer, and but yet management is there, which very few people know about this. That hydroxyurea, folic acid as a management, and the pain management is also one of the important role player. So how one get a sickle cell disease? nutrition, some people think this might be because of nutrition deficiency, but it's not true. This is not a nutrition deficiency. It doesn't spread from one person to another person. It's not contagious. Neither it can happen through sexual contact or with any person. This can only be transferred from parents to children because it's a genetic disease. So there is only one way this disease can transfer to another person, through genetic process. Prevalence of sickle cell disease. So in Madhya Pradesh, there are 27 districts which are in this, which are highly affected with sickle cell disease, from 10% to 33% of their total population. And it's saying that total 67,000 patients, I'm saying SS patients, are there in the Madhya Pradesh from these 27 districts, and more than 1 million carriers. That means 10 lakhs, more than 10 lakhs. And this is the data of ICMR. And you can see in the map of India, this is the belt, the Gujarat, then South Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, then Maharashtra, Telangana, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, and then again nearby area of the Bangalore and in the Andaman and Nicobar. So according to a survey, it's saying that India has the highest burden of sickle cell in the world. So this is a problem. So after that was the introduction of the disease generally. And now come to the project, what we are doing. We are doing sickle cell screening for school going children, and our main focus is on pregnant women, in which we do in Anganwadi or by visiting their homes, and door-to-door family screening of the positive cases from school screening or from the Anganwadi. So during this screening, we are using solubility test for the screening, and before solubility test, we are doing copper HB estimation using the copper sulfate method. And during the screening, we make aware the ASHA, the ANM, and Anganwadi worker about the disease. So they, if a case found in their village, then they can look after that case to take follow-ups and to provide information about the patient support committees which we do for patients. So after positive, if someone comes positive in sickle cell screening, then we do a confirmatory test using the HB electrophoresis machine at district level. That HB electrophoresis machine is developed by Janswat Sayog. And if patient found positive, here positive means SS. If a solubility positive person come SS in HB electrophoresis test, then we ask him or her to visit our patient support group meetings, where we manage these patients. In patient support group meetings, patient sits in a round circle, and there we do patient interaction sessions with patients. Counselors do their counseling, and lab technician, ANM take their physical examination and take blood samples for the HB estimation and CBC test. And after that, doctor give them treatment and medicines for next 3 months, so that they don't have to visit the hospital every month or every 7 days. So we give them medicine for 3 months. And all we are doing this with the government doctors, government lab technicians, government ANM and staff nurses. So public health system is involved in managing these patients. And if a patient needed hospitalization, because in the patient support committee, we cannot manage with severe symptoms. If he needs hospitalization, then we send them to district hospital or FRU, where they can be managed. And at these places, we have trained lab technicians, which were trained by Janswat Sayog lab, and trained doctors and staff nurses. These are the staff of government, which was provided training under this project. And we also do awareness campaigns and marathon, and then we celebrate sickle cell day on district level. So for awareness also, we are doing some activities. These are some pictures of the pregnant woman screening in Anganwadi, where this ANM and resource person are doing their work for screening pregnant women and children of the Anganwadi. School going student screening, door-to-door family screening. The family screening of the positive cases are done by visiting their homes. Screening in general camps. Sometimes we do screening in general camps, and then confirmatory test in the a nodal level at district level. Patient support group meetings. This is the picture of a lab technician training and a training of doctors, training of staff nurses, and World Sickle Cell Day Marathon, which was done in Anuppur. We also involve collector and CMHO and other officials of health department. Patient management and treatment. These are some pictures of the screening in field. Here the ANM is withdrawing sample and doing copper sulfate method for the HU estimation. This is family screening, and this is screening of children in Anganwadi. So our data of screening and diagnosis is this. We have screened 18,167 pregnant women, then 19,000 family members, and 17,730 school-going children. So total till now in Anuppur district, we have screened 55,478 people. Out of them, 11,282 were positive, which is 20.25%. This is really high, which we found in these 55,000 population. And 9,841 were carriers, and 1,101 were SS patients which needed treatment. So it came around 1.99%. And we found that in family screening, 4.53% were SS patient. So we focused more on the family screening. And it is my request to everyone, if you are planning to do a sickle cell screening program, then it is necessary to screen family members of the positive cases, because that will give you the most positive cases. We also found 7 sickle beta thal cases. And our findings were that most of the SS patients were from poor background. And this is not related to the that if they are poor, then they will get assessed. They will be assessed, but most of them were poor because maybe because of disease they become poor, or they were already poor. But 83% were poor. And if when we look at gender-wise data, we found that male and female sex ratio was almost similar. There is no relation with gender. And but with caste or category wise, we found a surprising results. Sickle cell disease is known as a tribal disease, but we found here that all 50% cases were not tribal; they were OBC. 31% was only tribal, and 15.83% SS patients were from general category, and SC 2.26%. That means only 31% were tribal, and the rest of them were in general or OBC and in SC category. So this is no more a tribal disease. We should stop calling it a tribal disease. This is present in every caste. It is related to the geographical area of where malaria was predominantly presented. And when we looked at the data of age for SS patient, we found that 56%, more than 56% cases were below 18. That means they were not surviving more than that age because of they were not getting treatment in the government hospitals. They have to visit other states for getting treatment. This data actually whatever we have done was in last 2 years. So before last 2 years, patients were not getting treatment or diagnosis or solubility test in the government system in Madhya Pradesh. Now they are getting, so this data might change after a few years because patients are being managed at government hospitals. So they're getting their treatment in free and in their nearby hospitals. So we found that 30+ patients were only 10%. They were not surviving more than 30 years. 90% cases were below 30 years age. These are some pictures of a counselor who is doing home visits for counseling of patients. His counselor, Pawan Gupta. So he has to visit homes in different tolas. And now come to the role of technology in the project. So we are doing solidity test using solidity kit, which is taking very less time to suspect a case. And for confirmatory test, we are doing machine, which was developed by Janswa Sayug. And for data collection, earlier we were using registers, but later we found that there are lots of the problem in data collection. There were delay in the data reaching at the central hub from field, and registers were getting damaged. Data was sometimes data was missing at some points, and manual calculations were used. We were doing manual calculations, which were giving out or which were giving us different type of results in every month. So then we came to a solution that we should have an app, and we found Avni. And Avni, after using Avni, we had many benefits of that. Data is getting synchronized with server every day. So no need to store data in registers, and data is safe at one place at server. And our reports were automated, so we don't have to do manual calculations for them. And these reports are present on a portal. And data collection works even in offline mode. Actually, this app is very good for collecting data in offline mode, because you doesn't need internet to collect the data. Once you get internet, you can sync the database server. Your data will be saved with server. This is a solubility test we are using it. This is a very simple test actually, and we can call it a appropriate technology, because to use this test, one need not to be a lab technician. You just have to use ml of and add 20 microliter of blood in this buffer and mix well, and then wait for 10 minutes. This will give you results. If lines are visible, the background lines are visible from the test tube, then that means the patient is not having any sickle gene. But if lines are not visible, then that means the patient is sickle cell or carrier, or maybe sickle beta cell, but the person has sickle cell gene. And cost is also very low. The cost for one person is only 6 rupees. So we can say it's low cost test. And for confirmatory, this is the HB electrophoresis machine, which was developed by Janswa Sayug, which we are using. This machine is Agros based. So, and the cost of this machine is also very low. It's only 16,000. In market, machines cost around 80,000 or 1 lakh or more than 1 lakh. So it's very low cost. This is a result of the HP electrophoresis machine where several samples are there. So, and now comes to the data collection app. So with the help of someone, we developed this data collection app, Avni app, which they were already having. So we designed the app for our project according to this format. First, we are having registration form. If a person is registered and we are screening, then we fill its enrollment form, which is only one step process. And after enrollment form, we do a basic screening form for solidity test and HV estimation. And if person is negative, then we end the form. And if person is positive, then we do the sample shipment, which is done by logistic manager. He ships the samples from app. So information goes to lab that one sample is going to ship in lab, and lab does its test, and lab results form is being filled. If a person is AS or AA, then form ends here. If result is other, or result is SS or beta thal, then we do next process. So if result is other, then we send sample for HPLC test. And in HPLC test, if person found AS or AA, then we end from here. If person is found SS or sickle beta thal, that means disease, then we fill its baseline form baseline form contains all the information of patient from health related problems, what he or she is facing. And we fill their monthly follow-up form, physical checkup form, and lab checkup forms. These forms are being filled every 3 months. Actually, earlier we planned to fill them every month, but it's not possible for us, and so we changed the plan, and now we are filling these forms every 3 months. This is the dashboard of the app, where we found these all areas are like they are 42 scheduled visits and 66 overdue visits. Overdue will be like a solubility test is done today, but HV electrophoresis can't be done in same day. So these samples goes to overdue, and lab technician sees which samples are overdue to do HV electrophoresis test. Similarly, you can get a last 24 hours registrations, enrollments, and visits, and total how many persons has been screened. And before the screening, we ask question whether the old report is available or not. If old report is already available for that person, then we do not screen him or her. And if first report is not available, then we check that whether the blood transfusion is done in last months or not. If blood transfusion is done, then it gives we collect the date of blood transfusion, and then for next 3 months we do not screen that person because solubility result might get different. We also collect the high risk pregnancy cases, and then there is a form which collect the sample shipment details to which lab we are sending the sample. And next form is there, that lab results about which I was talking earlier. And this is the profile of that patient, where the person is found SS, blood group is A negative, and HV was found 9.58 gram per day. And this is enrollment number, and basic screening details are here. And then so app also has some filters for based on the visits, and also we can apply the filters of address to get the desired results of overdue or for scheduled visits. Then came to the Wave app. So this is Android app, and we are also Samanbhai has developed a Wave app. Wave app has admin portal. Then app designer can design app by themselves. That means we do not need too much of time of Samanbhai team. We can design app by ourselves. And there are a few more things, reports, and then data entry app. So in this data entry app, this is the admin portal where we can create new users, we can add locations, catchments, or user groups, or we can upload any other list. So I have created many users. And this is online data entry app. In this app, you have option to register a person to search. This online Wave app is also similar to the Android app. Little bit UI is different, but all features are same. Then we have reporting portal. In reporting portal, this is portal. We have many reports here. This is an example of a report. The data which I just presented earlier is here. So this is what I was talking about, automated reports. We don't have to calculate now manually. This also gives us access to check the status of the sync of every device which our team members are using. So let's take example of Kajal. If what is the status of sync? Last sync was done in 1059 seconds, and this was done on this date. So to troubleshoot, this helps us. And if we still face any problems, then there is portal, online support portal, So where we can create a new ticket, like I have created this ticket to correct the bleed list, and the Vinod replied on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. I'm trying to go through the questions that have not already been answered. One question, and Pankaj has been answering quite a lot of questions here. One question was that in the graphs, was that only one district that was being shown by Dr. Divyesh from TESS?
Yeah, so in the screening and diagnosis data that you presented, Mr. Rahul, yeah,
Yep.
this one. So is this just data of one district and of just 1 year? Could you be more specific regarding the duration?
Okay. So this is the data of Anuppur district only for last 2 years, more than 2 years. Actually, it's 28 months. And for other districts, I have not shown any data here. And actually, we are working Anuppur from last 2.5 years. And we just scaled in Dindori in last 6 months. And in other 4 districts, we are doing capacity building work. So in capacity building work, we are doing the training and supportive supervision and providing them resources, but we are not doing the field screening. So field screening is being done only in Anuppur and Dindori.
Okay, and the last question is in that sickle cell support group meeting that you'll have. So is this a monthly affair, a weekly affair, or a quarterly affair? And how many patients do you all have registered with you who come for follow-up in this sickle cell support group meeting?
So support group meetings are being done once in 3 months, but we are doing multiple meetings. So for one place, we are doing it in once in 3 months, but every month we are doing more than 6 or 7 meetings for different places. So we are doing these meetings at PHC level, primary health center level, and currently not 1100 patients, but 600 plus patients are attending these meetings. But due to COVID, we are actually sometimes we are unable to manage conduct these meetings.
Okay, so all 600 patients plus they attend in a month, you mean to say, or in one meeting 500 patients to come?
In 3 months total, 600 patients attend these meetings. So if one patient visit the meeting once in 3 months.
Okay, thank you, and really congratulate you on the incredible work that you have been doing, and more power to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a question from Dr. Aisha about asking if there are any challenges drawing samples from under 5 children.
So yes, we are facing challenges in drawing samples of infant and children below 5 years, but our aims are trained from Janswa Sayog, so we somehow managed to get those samples.
So Dr. Rahul actually wanted to know, because you mentioned that there are challenges if we want to draw blood from the newborns. So like, are pediatricians preferred for this role? Like, is the presence of pediatricians mandatory for this purpose? Or because you mentioned this is a very simple test which can be done even by a person who is trained on this test. So for this challenge, do you suggest a pediatrician made available, or how do you address these challenges?
Actually, this is not possible to bring a pediatrician field because you know that the public health already has very low numbers of pediatricians. So, but or ANMs, we very well trained or ANMs to draw these samples, so ANM can do it. But we are not taking samples of newborns. So we are doing screening of children above the 6 months age.
Yeah. So in the children above the 6 months of age, so in them also there will be challenges, right?
Yes.
In while drawing the samples. So like most of these cases, will you refer, or ANM is able to handle?
Till now, I think we haven't faced any case where our ANM is unable to draw sample.
Okay. Okay. And also, I would like to know, like, how many teams are deployed at the block level or at the district level to take care of this project?
Okay, so we have one team for every block, and there is block very large, so we have two teams in that block. So total 5 teams are there in Anuppur district, and currently 2 teams are working in Dindori district.
Okay, so what about the number of tests which can be conducted, Dr. Rahul, by the solubility test? Say, for example, if one person is doing this test, so how many tests can be done, like as per your experience, like how many tests can be done per day?
So how many can be done is we have went for during school screening we can do test more than 100 in a day, but if we are not doing school screening, then it's hard to get samples. So during screening of pregnant women, we get maximum 30 or 40 samples per day. And
So yeah,
and during family screening, we are getting 25 to 30 samples only. And this is
will one
this is
person be able to
30.
handle this test, Dr. Rahul? Can one
Sorry?
person can one person be able to do this test? 100
No,
tests?
we are having 3 members in a team.
Okay,
One
okay.
lab technician, one ANM, and one resource person. Resource person is to do all the plannings and arranging the resources. Lab technician does the test, ANM draws the sample and do their counseling and they take consents.
Okay, so 3 person will be able to do like 100 tests. So what will be the duration of this session, Dr. Rahul?
So a session for
School, if you are planning for a school, like what is the duration of this session?
so
Like the
it
testing.
depends on it depends on the number of the children, but we are generally doing from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay, okay. So still you will be able to need 3 resources, right?
Yeah, but we can also go with 2 members. Or currently our teams are having 2 members in most of the teams because of this COVID. Some person has left. So with 2 members also we are able to handle. One ANM and resource person is sufficient.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Dr. Rahul.
Sorry, I'm not doctor. I'm a software engineer.
Yeah. Thank you, Rahul.
Anika?
Yeah. Thanks, Rahul, for this presentation. It gives quite a comprehensive view of what you and your team are doing. So I just wanted to get a sense of or some insights of your experience and your team members' experience while doing that. Like you said that you have counselors who are going and talking to patients and even patient support groups. So I wanted to get a sense of like you mentioned that more than 50% of cases SS happen in children who are below 18 years of age. So how does the disease impact their experiences, like their living experience in terms of their school going abilities or their working conditions, the employment that adults do? So what is the impact of the disease on those experiences? If you could share some insight on that.
Okay, Anika. So actually we have faced these type of cases where children are unable to go to school or they left their exam because of sickle cell disease. So I will give you an example of a patient. Her name is Parul Jatwar. She's no more. During her 10th class exam, she felt pain and she left the exam, and for almost 1 year she was in hospital. This happened before our intervention. So and after that she left school, and after 3 years she left this world. And in similar manner, there are many students who are unable to join school because they are having pains, and teachers are not able to understand their pain. They think they are just making excuses. And in some tribal hostels, where the warden is saying that we cannot handle a patient in our hostel, so we will not allow sickle cell patient students. Later, we discussed it with district collector, and district collector gave instruction to not discriminate with these patients based on the disease. And then she was allowed to stay in that hostel. But after getting the management of hydroxyurea and pain management, children are again joining schools, but we are not having an exact number because we have not done any study on that. That is all restrictions because of our restrictions of intervention. But yes, sickle cell disease is affecting school-going children. And we found that most of these children, only 101 are in school. Rest of the SS patients were not in school.
Yeah, thanks, Rahul. Yeah, I think that's what, there are a lot of studies that report these kind of findings from outside of India. But I think work that you and your team is doing will these kind of insights out, and which are very important, especially when we plan to design a patient-centered care and those things. So thank you. Thanks a lot.
Welcome, Anika.
Thanks a lot, Rahul. And in case people have questions, you can always keep using the comments during this time. Rahul and Pankaj are available here. Pankaj, would you like to add anything?
There is a question from DM48 user.
This is Dr. Divyesh only. So actually, out of the total diagnosed patients that you have in Anuppur district, I have just asked that how many are being admitted in hospital every year at least once due to vaso-occlusive crisis or pain crisis. Is there a kind of a daycare center which is there in Anuppur district? Or I mean, if yes, then what's the capacity? Like all those questions primarily.
So for daycare center, actually, the state government has tried to develop a daycare center at district level, but it's not ready yet in Anuppur district. Patients are being managed in OPD or in the, if patient is OPD or IPD. So there is no separate daycare unit, but yes, we were success to make a separate ward for sickle cell patients, where they are little bit getting benefit than the direct OPD. And actually, not every patient is getting hospitalized. Most of them are able to manage their pain at home because we are providing them that painkillers, tramadol or paracetamol. So, but yes, every day there are 4 to 5 patients are there in hospital in Anuppur, and same in Dindori and Mandla, and even in Sadol.
And this is just the district hospital that you're talking about. So, am I correct?
Yes. At FRU level, they are able to manage patients very not exactly, but they are referring patients to district hospitals from FRUs or CHCs. So only for OPD level care, patients are going to CHC, PHC. But if they need it to hospitalize, then they are coming to district hospital.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Binay.
Is there anybody else also who would like to speak? Dr. Dhiren? Dr. Nandakumar?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, this is Nandakumar from Ashwini Gudalur. This is great work because we have very little data that's coming in from the interior of the country. And it's very heartening to see that Rahul and his team are working hard to get all the sickle cell patients identified and on treatment. It's a terrific initiative. And I hope that this process continues so that we well document the sicklers, because for many years, screening has been done, but there hasn't been systematic documentation. But this is a very good initiative so that the patients are identified, so we don't have to keep on repeating the testing, which is done once and for all. So I think this model should find other takers in that belt, and that's a huge area considering it's a difficult and mostly remote kinds of areas that one has to go. So it's a terrific intervention. Were you supported by the government, Dr. Rahul, for your funding?
So yes, we are getting completely funded from National Health Mission.
Has the Jabalpur, there's a sickle cell center in Jabalpur, have they been collaborating with you?
Not yet. We are not able to collaborate with them.
The data from the country shows that it's highly variable. The sickle cell disease in different parts of the country is quite variable. So it's important that each area has defined its characteristics of its patients. I think that's very important, and that's something that you're doing. So you've just started your work for 2 years. So I think if you go systematically like this, it'll be a very, very good intervention for the sickle cell disease people. Are you able to get hydroxyurea quite easily?
Not exactly easily, but we are trying very hard. Sometimes they don't have budget for hydroxyurea because it's not in the essential drug list. But after some efforts, we are getting hydroxyurea from government.
And who does all the entries into the Avni system?
All resource person in the field, and for lab result scientist or lab technician is doing, and for sample shipment, logistic manager is doing. So multiple persons are doing, and the information of patients like follow-up form and baseline forms are being filled by all counselors.
And but they're using a tablet for this.
Yes, we are. The app is also works in Android mobile. So few of them are using tab and few of them are using mobile.
Thank you, Rahul.
Welcome.
Dr. Dhiren? Yeah.
Dr. Dhiren has asked a question about hydroxyurea. Pankaj, would you like to answer?
I think we are Dr. Dhiren, we have been giving hydroxyurea to all patients. Yeah, I think that's what he asked.
Yes, we are giving hydroxyurea to all patients, but not every patient is taking hydroxyurea because they feel that they are not having any symptoms. So few of them stop. So few of them trust that taking hydroxyurea continuously will be helpful for them, and this has shown significant results for many patients.
About pediatric doses, we have actually right now we only have the 500 milligram capsule in the government supply, which we have been using. So we actually divide them into 250 and 125. We actually manually divide them and make pouches of it. And sometimes what we do is we give alternate day to sort of like if there is 750 required, so we try to manage that as well. It's not the ideal way, but that's what we have. We have actually asked the government also to get us 250 and 125 milligram preparations. We have asked the blood cell.
And Dr. Aisa has asked that samples are being transported on the same day. No, we are not transporting samples on the same day because of the distance is very high. So we are transporting samples twice or thrice in a week. During that time, samples are being stored in refrigerator.
Yeah. So one question was asked around the adverse drug reactions of hydroxyurea. So so because all patients who are coming to patient support groups are actually followed up, and there is a specific follow-up form which Rahul has shown in the presentation also. So we try to ask questions around the prognosis of the disease, also around pain crisis, blood transfusions, and so we actually mostly the only maybe the adverse event which we have seen around hydroxyurea has been a decrease in the TLC counts of some patients. That's That's it. And there's been no subjective adverse events, but that's the place where we try to gather information if they have any. So we also have any other clinical problems or that the patient is having, and we try to capture that in the follow-up form. Yeah, and we try that everyone gets a total leukocyte count and a complete blood count actually every 3 months. And about the vaccination, we have actually we have not really been able to achieve any ideal situation for sickle cell patients about vaccination, but we have pneumococcal vaccines right now in Madhya Pradesh in the universal immunization program. But the way it is required in sickle cell patients, it needs a booster at 5 years, and so we have not really been able to programmatically put it, but because we are right now in a way trying that
System
initially.
is providing PCV to every children according to system.
Yeah. But what we are presently trying that let's firstly, we have been pushing that the antibiotic prophylaxis, as there is a question around that also. We have put that into our trainings and have been pushing that all children under 5 are able to get the antibiotic prophylaxis, which is available in the system. And vaccination, we would really like to work on a little more. It is, as Rahul said, it is available in the system, and right now being at least under 1 year age, they are getting it. Yeah. Sorry, Dr. Dhiren has got the frequent presentation of sickle cell disease in your area. So, so we have actually been getting, I think the most common presentation is pain crisis, vaso-occlusive pain crisis. After that, we have had cases of splenic sequestration crisis. We have cases of stroke also. We have almost 10% of patients actually have an AVN, and we have patients of acute chest syndrome. We had one patient of perforation peritonitis also. So we have plenty of variety of patients that we have been seeing, and yeah, and yeah, yes. I hope I answered your question, Dr. Dhiren. It's a challenge to handle such patients at the level of district hospital of a small district like Anuppur, and that has been extremely challenging to upgrade the facilities of small district hospitals to a level of managing patients who are sick to have acute chest syndrome or a perforation peritonitis. But we have tried to improve as much as possible, strong referral linkages. And that's what we have been trying to.
Pankaj, Sova Singh has asked the rate of the crisis in adolescents. So, would you like to answer?
Rate of crisis in adolescence, ma'am, we don't really have the data right now about this, but in just like in a general form, if I may say, because even the patients, if you say the patients are under 20 zyada hi hain. There are a lot of patients who are actually under 20, so we get a lot of adolescent children under crisis. Yeah, but we have not really documented the crisis rates specifically.
Software is very helpful actually. Because of this, lots of the time has reduced to make the reports, and data loss is also reduced. Earlier, we were not able to check registers of every team, but now we are able to check their reports, their daily reports also, that how is their progress going. So software is actually add on to work.
Yeah. Means like Rahul and team presents his data almost every week to the collector, and we are able, so because of the software, we are able to get real-time data in almost no time. How many have we done, how many patients are there, and which is very important to work with the system and to be able to tell them the progress. About the AVN, I think, yeah, most patients which I have seen is, Rahul, I think most patients are above 18 actually. And which if I may write, because of the when we have identified AVN, many have actually already have the deformities, and we have been thinking how to actually rehabilitate them by using physiotherapy, better pain control, and maybe some livelihood options, which we have really been not been able to do yet. Yeah.
No, the software doesn't give reminder to patients.
May I?
Yes.
As sickle cell disease is one of those diseases under the Right to Disability Act 2016.
Yes.
So amongst the diagnosed sickle cell disease patients, I believe you have presented a number of 55,000. How many of them do actually get the UDID card out there? Do they have, because that's the one of the options of that livelihood generation and other things.
Yes, right. There are 1,100 patients in Anuppur. Out of them, we don't have data, but we initially fought for that patients should get their disability certificates, and it has been started more than 18 months ago in Anuppur that patients started receiving the disability certificate. Since the disability certificate is helpful only if the percentage of the disability is more than 40%. So every patient is not getting benefit from the disability certificate because 40% is defined based on the number of hospitalizations, number of pain crises, and there are many patients which are not presenting symptoms that frequently, that they should get a disability certificate of more than 40%.
Okay, so you're saying only 1,100 patients in Anuppur district with sickle cell disease, and out of that, hardly 5% have them their UDID, 5 to 10%,
Yeah.
because the guidelines are so stringent
Yeah.
that hospital admission are required. And
yes.
I think along with the guideline, the process of formation of the disability certificates requires a medical board to sit. And at a district which is very small, there is guidelines that every week the medical board should be sitting and then looking and reviewing the cases and then issuing medical certificates. And especially in sickle cell patients, actually the guidelines are pretty okay, but because of the hesitation of, because you really have to document that there has been this many pain crisis. And,
yes.
and if there is if there are no, so what we have our patients have a sickle cell card, and they get admitted during the pain crisis, but many a times they don't have continuation documents of how many times have they been admitted, which is actually the role of the hospital to do it because they have been admitted in the DH. So that process can actually improve a lot. But Rahul and team has actually pushed it so much that it started. It was not getting started initially, and they talked to the collector and everyone, but it can improve a lot further.
Okay. One last thing. Is there a way that you are enabling the in the sickle cell support meeting? Are you enabling, because many of them crisis, as you had said, that managed at home. So is there a record diary as such, which the patients will need to monitor their VOCs at home, and that will better enable the clinicians to?
Yes, I think that is already in pipeline. Rahul has already had a discussion, and we are about to actually roll that out. That's a very relevant suggestion.
Okay, thank you.
So Rahul, we've actually come to about the hour right now. We did have 2 other talks planned, so we'll quickly go over them. Then next should be Arjun, who would briefly talk about the software. And then we have quite a few people from the who are using Avni. So we'll also introduce a couple of new features that have come in Avni in the past 1 month. We'll keep the chat going on where anybody can keep asking your questions, and Rahul and Pankaj are here, so they'll be answering your queries. But we'll also move on to the rest so that we don't let them hanging. I hope it's fine with everyone. Next should be Arjun, who's essentially going to talk about the software implementation of this and a very brief idea of how the whole Avni system works. Over to you, Archan.
Yeah, thanks, Vinay. Can I get access to share the screen? Yeah.
You have access, Arjun.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. First of all, thanks, Rahul. And this was quite. I anticipated that this would be a very engaging discussion, but this was amazing. I mean, I also learned quite a few things. So, very nice. Yeah. So just I'll quickly introduce for those. I mean, many on the group here already know about Avni, so I'll be fast. But I think for those who are hearing about it for the first time, just introducing. So we started basically working on Avni in 2016, and it has been, our goal has been to create a comprehensive platform which using which we can create custom job aid applications and beneficiary MIS for programs like this. So sickle cell screening is one program, and then there are various others I'll show shortly where Avni has been implemented. Briefly, I think Rahul has already covered the different components that Avni has. So just as you see on the screen, Avni has an Android application, then there is a web application, there is reporting and dashboard, and there is a translation system. The Android application works completely offline, and whenever network is there, then the data is pushed to a hosted data center, and then reports and dashboards or even web app can work on top of that. It has features which covers various users involved in such programs like field workers, facilitators, data entry operators, program coordinators, and so on. What we've been trying with Avni is not be just a data collection platform, but be a job aid application for the field workers to be able to do their job better. For example, in one of the screen you saw that if for example blood transfusion has been done, then it suggests that do not do the test now and do it afterwards. So these are some of the decision supports that are built into the app so that field workers do not make mistakes, and then app helps them work as per the protocol. Then I mean, app natively supports the concepts of groups like self-help groups or households or individuals, which are usually the foundation of such programs. What you see on the screen is one on the left hand side is household dashboard, and one on the right hand side is the individual dashboard, where individual is enrolled into hypertension, diabetes, and NCD program. And what you see in the box is the summary for the diabetes program, which is the selected program right now over there. Related to data collection, there are all the standard features that are there, like forms can be configured with all the standard data types, and questions can be hidden and shown. I mean, in fact, during the sickle cell project, quite a few features we ended up implementing. The workflow that Rahul showed was quite complex actually to implement. Questions. I mean, there is a lot of like flow kind of a logic that happens over there based on this tree kind of a structure that is there in the logic. And then we had forms and multiple forms, and even within the same form questions designed based on that. And then various features related to validation, for example, highlighting any wrong data entry or making questions mandatory, etc. Those kind of all standard features are there. But like I said, not just data collection, but there are features which support making it a job aid. Like you see in the screenshots over here, the nutritional status is calculated based on weight, or abnormal values are highlighted, or in the last one, high risk conditions are being detected. These are based on rules per program. I mean, it doesn't come really out of the box in Avni. I mean, rules have to be encoded, but Avni platform supports putting in these rules as per each program. Here again, visit is being scheduled. So there is activity scheduling again, which Rahul already mentioned about. And this helps basically create a to-do list for the field workers so that they don't miss out on the activities. There are certain health specific features like vaccination schedule and growth chart that is there. couple of months back, in fact 1.5 months back, we introduced like offline indicators in the mobile application as well. The reports that Rahul showed were on an online application, but I mean, on the line of giving more power to the field workers, this is one of the feature where indicators are there in the mobile application as well. The key program indicators can be put over there. The app is multilingual, so can be created into as many languages. Just once you create in English and then upload translations for other languages. And then there are like reports and dashboard that can be created. These are some of the organizations which are using Avni, and through every either organization or project we've learned along the way. Each project has contributed either through features or the new functionality through which the platform has grown. We've learned through that all the knowledge from the field. Like for example, in case of sickle cell, like all the 50,000, I mean, there are constraints where catchments cannot be created, and all the users have single master catchment. So there is like 50,000, 60,000 people data sitting in one device, which created performance problems for us, which we had not originally anticipated, because we had designed for a one person catering to just one village, or maybe at max 2, 3, 5 villages. But this was like whole district, all of the screened people data in one application. So we've over a period of time, we've kept on adding features that supports that. So app performance, sync time performance, all those kind of things we've been fixing with continuously I think receiving inputs from Rahul. And similar has been stories from other projects as well. We've had in terms of use cases and applications, we've had complete community health projects done by JSS Community Health Program, and Ashwini Gudlur is having a complete health project. Then Yenepoya University is having household and demographic surveillance system. And then there are certain projects and organizations using for one single focused one program. And it's not just health, but Avni is general purpose, not limited to health sector. And so there have been applications in other sectors as well, dam desilting work or social security provisioning to waste pickers, and affordable housing and sanitation, and so on. We've had over a period of time, we've had fantastic collaborators. I mean, of course, of all the users that I've already mentioned. And then we've had financial support from Social Alpha and Tech for Dev, and like code contributions from Soft Corner and Persistent Systems. A question that might come in case you're hearing for the first time, and if you have an application where you'd like to use this, then how can I use it, would be a question in your mind. So one is that Avni is completely open source. So if you have in-house capabilities, technical skills, you can deploy it all by yourself. There are no restrictions around that. Otherwise, Samanvay provides a cloud hosted service, and then again over there you can just sign up by yourself. And if you have, again, depending upon the skills, if you have you can create like Rahul was mentioning, you can design the app by yourself. Or otherwise, Samanvay provides the following services, right from product training to creating the custom application, or migrating data from an existing application, or integrating with some other software, like for example in hospital software. Currently we are underway doing a Avni integration. Bamni is another open source hospital information system. So we're doing it for Ashwini Gudlu team, the Avni integration, where data from hospital would flow to Avni, and then from Avni to Bamni. That will facilitate a holistic picture of each patient and help in research as well as providing better healthcare services. That's it that I have. Vinay, I've tried to be as fast as possible with this. Over to
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great introduction. And the last part of it, actually, the second last part of this would be Vinod, who would be talking about the different new features that have been added in the past 1 month. And once that is done, and there was a lot of interest in the discussion today, so once that is done, it's essentially tea time. So anybody who wants to stay back can always stay back and discuss. So Vinod,
Yeah, thank you,
over to you.
Vinay.
Sure. Arjun, can you make Vinod the host?
Yeah, I'm not able to share the screen.
Sorry, can you guide me? I don't know how do I
Go to Vinod, and then there's like an option to, there'll be a drop down where you can make him. Else I'll try doing this. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah, okay, now you are the host.
Yeah, I'll do it. Done.
Oh, thank you. So let me know if you are able to see the screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So these are some of the features that we worked on last month. And so these features will be available to you shortly. And we'll talk about these features one by one. And we'll take the questions after we demo all the features. So first of all is the news broadcast. Using this feature, what you can do is you can create the news, what's happening in the organization, and important information can be shared with the field workers. So suppose if you want to share like the best performer field worker of the month, or you want to share some kind of monthly reports with the field user that they should know. So that data can be synced to the field user. And so what it helps is that the organization can easily communicate with the field workers. So it's very easy to create a news. So first of all, this is the Android app. So in this, in the more section, whenever you have the news published by your organization, they get an option here, news, and the count shows what all the number of news that is unread by the user. So once you click on it, so there are like 3 news here in my device which are synced. So whenever you can click on any of the news and you can read the news. So designing this news is very simple. So it can be designed using the web application. So here we have a new app called News Broadcast. So once you open it, you can create a new. You can click on the create new broadcast, and there you can basically choose the image and like whatever the title. And so let me just copy one sample news. And so the content of the news is like you can use the rich text, like you can make it bold, list, all kind of hyperlinks can be embedded to this. And once you save the news, it gets saved. You can still make the edits as and when you want. And once you publish this news, so it will get synced to the user's device. So once this is published and the field user syncs the device, they will be able to see this news in the news listing, and yeah, they will be able to basically read this news. So this is one thing. So another feature is regarding the comments. So basically so as Avani is a data collection tool, and there can be some of the like when the field user is collecting the data, there can be the mistakes. So this is one of the feature which comes very handy wherever you want to point exactly which record is in which record the mistake is there, and a field user can very easily navigate to that record and correct it according to the comments provided. And there is no hustle like when you use the phone or message. So you tell the field user this subject has some corrupt data, so they need to search it. But using this feature, they can directly go to that record and can fix the issue. So I'll quickly show one such scenario. So I'll go to my search and I'll search for the individuals that I have in my system. So if you see, there are two individuals which are registered, and if you see this Shyam Singh is marked as female. So this is a wrong record that I find. So I go to the dashboard of this subject and I click on this comment, and I can create a new thread for this subject. So when I say, I can say correct. So I can create a thread. So whenever a thread is created, it is marked as open. Whenever a field user of this catchment will sync the data, they will get this comment, and they can basically respond to this thread and also mark it as resolved. So whenever whenever a field user opens the app from their dashboard, they can see that they have one open comment, and by clicking on this card, they see that this is one of the comment that they have, and they can then fix the data and mark it as resolved. So and the last feature is the auto sync. So right now, if you open the dashboard of the app, so you see there is a sync icon, and every time you create an entry in the app, you need to sync data to the server. So this is a kind of manual work that you have to do. But with the release of this feature, what we have done is, if the internet is available, after every 1 hour, auto sync is done, and the data is automatically synced to the server. So you don't have to manually press sync button. So yeah, so this was all about all the features that we are going to release pretty soon, and it will be available to you. So any questions for any of the features? Okay.
Thank you, Vinod, for your presentation. Now, there are quite a lot of comments that are going on, and it seems like a lot of people are really interested in continuing this conversation. So I'm going to open this up to everyone else now. So do you want to keep this conversation going, or should we call it a day? The field, it's open to everyone right now. This is like tea session or. So first of all, I didn't ask Rahul and Pankaj. Are you free to continue, or do you want to call it a day?
We can continue if needed.
If there are any other questions or discussions.
So now it depends on anybody else, the first person to actually speak up.
Hello, sir. Rahul, sir. Thank you for your presentation. My name is Parag, and I have a question that how are you managing your work during this pandemic? And have you having some problems during operation of your work?
Yes, we are having problem in this pandemic. Actually, we are today the CMHO has asked us to not conducting patient support group meetings because these meetings are calling patients at one place which is making crowd. So we are unable to do patient support group meetings. And other than that, during lockdown, as all the Anganwadis were closed, schools were closed, so we were not able to do screening. Other than that, work is not affecting. But yes, also the system is so much involved with COVID vaccination and COVID testing, managing COVID patients. So we are not getting their direct support. This is their limitation, not because they don't want to support, but because of COVID, they are not able to support us, or not able to do, so not able to pay more attention on sickle cell patients.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Sir, I have another question that are you planning to expand your work towards many other districts of Madhya Pradesh? Have you any plan for this, sir?
So actually, the National Health Mission of Madhya Pradesh has the plan to expand the project in all 27 districts, and they are about to release a RFP for that on the same model which we are implementing in these 6 districts. So yes, MP government is trying to expand this. Maybe this might happen next year.
Oh yeah, that's great, sir. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? I think nobody is having any question now.
Yep, the number of participants, people are also dropping off on the side. So I guess we've already spent like 1.5 hours. So
Yes.
there is the Zoom fatigue as well.
Yes, to the persons there are still in there. If you want to contact me, you can contact me. You can take contacts from Arjun, or if you want, I can share here.
Yeah. So so in everyone would have gotten an email from me for the meeting invite with the meeting invite. So you can always reply to me, and I can share the contacts of anyone required.
We'll anyways we'll send a feedback form along with all the presentations and
Right.
contact details of the speakers. So,
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks everyone for attending, and thanks Rahul, thanks Pankaj. This was the most interactive session we've ever had with the webinar series.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for arranging.
Sure. Bye.
Bye.